Remember that tiny device clipped to your belt, the one that could make you feel important with a single beep? Before smartphones ruled our lives, there was a time in the 90s when the beeper was a badge of status and independence. That insistent buzz in your pocket, so simple, yet it could send your heart racing. The sharp plastic shell cool against your fingers, and the way you'd sneak a glance at its glowing screen to decode a mysterious number or 911 message, these moments defined a unique era. Beepers brought a new kind of connection and urgency, making us feel plugged in while still keeping us untethered from constant conversation. Have you found an old beeper in a drawer and remembered that rush of anticipation? Who could be reaching out and why? It was a time when messages were brief, but the meanings behind them could change your entire afternoon. And though we now carry the world in our pockets, there was something thrilling about those tiny alerts. So why did these humble gadgets capture a generation's imagination? Let's take a journey back and uncover the story behind the 90s beeper craze. Step back with me to the late 1970s and early 1980s when personal technology was taking its first tentative steps into our daily routines. While many of us think of beepers, also called pagers, as a distinctly 90s hallmark, their roots actually stretch much deeper. The seeds of the beeper revolution were sown decades before they became the must-have accessory for teens, doctors, and tech-savvy professionals. In the beginning, pagers were practical tools reserved for doctors, emergency responders, and select business leaders. The earliest commercial system, the Motorola Pageboy, appeared in 1964. It could only receive messages, and those messages were strictly alert tones, no words, no numbers, just a signal that someone, somewhere, needed your attention. Did you ever see one of these old devices in action, maybe during a doctor's house call or in a hospital drama? Their mere presence hinted at something urgent, something exclusive. But as the 1980s rolled on and technology leaped forward, paging systems evolved. Newer models introduced numeric displays and eventually the ability to show short text messages. This was a quiet but significant shift. For the first time, information could be shared and prioritized. Someone could send a 911 to let you know it was urgent, or even a phone number so you'd know who was calling. That subtle dance, call me at this number as soon as you can, became a new language. Believe it or not, the earliest two-way pagers, including some quirky prototypes in the early 90s, actually predate the widespread adoption of mobile phones. It's a surprise to many that while cell phones languished as car-based novelties for the wealthy, beepers democratized communication for millions. Everyone from delivery drivers to medical professionals relied on that signature buzz to keep things moving in a pre-digital world. The late 80s saw prices drop and networks expand. Suddenly, hospitals, construction companies, and even school administrators could afford to equip staff with pagers. Motorola, already a titan in personal electronics, seized the moment, flooding the market with affordable, reliable models like the Bravo Express and the Advisor. Chances are you recall that familiar Motorola insignia, simple, bold letters etched into black plastic. Did you ever flick open a beeper with your thumb, half expecting the news of the day to flash before your eyes? But the real turning point, the one that made beepers a true cultural touchstone, arrived as the 90s dawned. Cellular networks were still patchy and costly, but paging towers were sprouting up everywhere. Suddenly coverage stretched into towns and suburbs, into malls and city centers, even reaching as far as the occasional rural diner. Phone booths dotted the landscape, poised for returning calls, a pair as classic as peanut butter and jelly. Surprisingly, some of the most creative early uses of beepers didn't happen in high-powered boardrooms, but among teenagers. As more families added a second line in the home, kids were finding ways to circumvent the prying ears of parents and the long reach of wired phones. Beepers allowed coded messaging, the birth of pager codes. where a string of numbers could mean anything from "I love you, 143, to "call me now." Did you ever have a secret? Code with friends or family, a way to say something only the right person would understand. It felt like sharing a secret handshake in plain view. At the same time, the beeper began shedding its utilitarian image. Colored cases, belt clips, and even neon glow accessories let users personalize these once bland devices. Soon, beepers became more than a work tool. They were a fashion statement and even a symbol of social status. Especially in big cities, the sight of a beeper clipped to someone's hip told a subtle story. I'm connected, I'm needed, I'm in the loop. You might be surprised to learn that at their peak in the mid-90s, over 60 million pagers were in active use in the US alone, more per capita than cell phones at the time. To put it in perspective, in 1995 there were roughly twice as many pagers as cell phones nationwide. How strange is it to think back to a time when you were far more likely to beep someone than to call them? Of course, there were certain rituals only beeper owners knew, that moment of anticipation as you waited for a beep at an important time, before a big date, a job interview, or just waiting for a friend's signal to meet up at the mall. The scramble to track down a payphone, the hunt for a quarter, the quick rush to return that important call, all part of a daily rhythm we've now left behind. Did you ever find yourself rushing out of a movie or a crowded restaurant, heart pounding just to return a mysterious page? And let's not forget the truly iconic moment from popular culture, the appearance of beepers in movies and TV shows, often signaling intrigue, urgency, or the inner workings of a modern world. From hospital dramas like ER and Chicago Hope, where doctors' beepers never stopped, to high-powered lawyers and detectives in shows of the era, the beeper was a shortcut for importance. Even musicians and young stars began mentioning pagers in lyrics, cementing their role in 90s youth culture. As we look back, it's remarkable how this technology not only bridged gaps in communication, but became a cultural bridge in itself, uniting different generations in a shared experience. From parents coordinating soccer pickups to doctors receiving late-night calls, the humble beeper played a central role. But if you think the story of the beeper is all about simple numeric messages and hospital corridors, get ready, because the technology would soon leap forward in ways few could imagine. In the next chapter, we'll explore how beeper technology exploded, evolving from simple buzzers into cutting-edge personal organizers, reshaping not just how we communicated, but how we lived our daily lives. What innovation was around the corner, and how did it capture the imagination and sometimes the anxiety of a rapidly changing decade? Let's dig in and discover the world behind those beeps. As we wrap up our journey through the beeper-filled world of the 90s, it's almost impossible not to smile at the little devices that once meant so much to us. From their humble beginnings as hospital tools and business essentials, beepers evolved into the ultimate accessory of their era, bridging gaps in an age before constant connectivity and changing the rhythm of our everyday lives. We recalled how a single beep could set hearts racing, signaling anything from a friendly check-in to matters of urgency. Who could forget the quiet thrill of decoding a string of numbers, a secret between friends, or a call for help that only you could answer? Those moments of anticipation, searching for a payphone, or scanning your beeper's glowing screen by the light of a street lamp helped shape a unique sense of freedom and responsibility. For many of us, beepers brought a taste of adulthood to younger years and a vital connection to the world for professionals on the move. The 90s didn't just witness the spread of beepers, they watched as these gadgets took on lives of their own. They became fashion statements, conversation starters, and even featured in our music and favorite TV shows. Their popularity spoke to something deeper, a longing to be reachable without being bombarded, to share in the news but not be overwhelmed by it. In an age before endless notifications, the beep was a gentle nudge, an invitation, not a demand. And for a remarkable stretch of time, those small devices helped families coordinate, teens find their independence, and businesses thrive with newfound efficiency. Looking back, it's clear that the beeper wasn't just a tool, it was a symbol of trust and expectation. We put faith in its reliability just as we trusted each other to use those beeps wisely. The culture that grew around beepers was subtly different from our digitally drenched lives today. There was an unspoken etiquette, an understanding of when and what to beep, of racing the clock to return a message when it truly mattered. That sense of moderation and mutual respect seems almost quaint now in a world overflowing with instant replies and constant chatter. Do you ever find yourself missing those simpler connections, the art of a short message delivered with intention, rather than the flood of communication at our fingertips today? Reflecting on the beeper era, we see more than just a chapter in the evolution of technology. We see a window into the values and rhythms of our younger years. The nostalgia these devices inspire isn't just about the gadgets themselves, but about how they served as companions through long shifts, study sessions, weekend adventures, and quiet nights at home. Their story ties us to a time when anticipation and imagination filled the silent spaces between beeps, and when a pocket-sized device could make you feel important, seen and needed, if only for a moment. Now I'd love to hear your story. What's your most unforgettable beeper memory? Was it the code you shared with a close friend, the rush to call someone back, or that feeling of being part of a wider, buzzing world? Share your experiences in the comments below. Let's relive those moments together and see how much our memories have in common. And if this trip down memory lane made you smile, be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who will remember those beeper days as fondly as you do. We've got more journeys through the golden years of technology and pop culture coming up. Don't miss your chance to reminisce and reconnect. So, as we tuck our old beepers into dusty drawers or spot them at flea markets and antique shops, let's remember, every beep was a story, a heartbeat in the soundtrack of the 90s. Though the world has moved on, the echoes of those little alerts still linger, reminding us that sometimes all it takes is a simple signal to make us feel connected once again.